What's up, you guys? It's Layla Lynn, and I'm back with another video. And in this video, I want to talk about the viral case of Kada Scott being unalive. Kada Scott was a former Miss Philadelphia, and she was unalive by someone she thought was a friend. If you're following this case, you know that Keon King allegedly set Kada up to meet her outside of her job and allegedly unalived her within minutes of meeting her outside of her job. And what it looks like when I put the puzzle pieces together, what it looks like is that Keon King may have been almost like hired, like his job may have been to scare her, and then he planned to take it a step further and unalive her because he has a history of putting his hands on women. We're going to get into his strangulation charges. He has no problem putting his hands on women, but the fact that he used a weapon, he allegedly used a pow pow to unalive Kada, it tells me something. It tells me his motive may not have been personal. It may not have been personal at all. And so we're going to get into his possible motive in this video. But first, if you're watching, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe and click the thumbs up button.
New this morning, the Philadelphia medical examiner announcing Kada Scott's cause of death, a gunshot wound to the head. Keon King is accused of killing Scott and appeared in court Thursday morning for new charges, including murder, tampering with evidence, conspiracy, and abuse of corpse. King was previously charged with kidnapping and arson in Scott's disappearance. 23-year-old Scott was reported missing October 4th. Police discovered her remains in a wooded area 2 weeks later, October 18th, behind the vacant Ada Lewis Middle School. New court documents released this week say Scott and King shared text messages the day she disappeared. Detectives say King's cell phone movement and activity place him at each step of the criminal timeline developed in the homicide investigation. Police also have video evidence of a stolen black Hyundai Accent parked at the Aubrey Rec Center next to the old middle school. Investigators believe Scott's body was in that car. Surveillance video going into the early morning hours October 6 allegedly shows two people removing a heavy object consistent with a human body. Police say they're seen on video carrying the object in the direction where Scott's remains were found. King's gold Toyota Camry was also captured on video leaving the rec center while two people were on foot. As a result, police believe there could be two accomplices involved. On October 7th, police believe King moved the stolen Hyundai Accent about a mile north of the rec center to set it on fire. All right, you guys, so let's start with his previous charges. This is via CBS News. He has charges that were filed on April 25th, but were withdrawn by May for a different case. And they say numerous law enforcement and legal sources said there were two felony counts of kidnapping, and then he also had two charges of strangulation. And that's why I say this man had no problem putting his hands on women, but for some reason, the way he unalived Kada was different. And the difference between a man choking his female victim and shooting her, it reveals different levels of control and emotion. So choking or strangling someone is an up-close personal form of violence. Like they're literally looking each other in the eye, and it requires physical contact and a sustained effort. And so the victim in the situation, she can see her attacker's face, and he can see hers, and he can see her fear. And people who are predators, people who are sadistic, they enjoy seeing that because it's personal. They are showing the person, I control whether you live or die. It's very personal. But pow-powing someone, on the other hand, is more detached. In this case, it looks to be premeditated, but it looks to be a different form of violence where he's detached from it. And so it allows him to act without as much personal contact or effort. And so that's why I think that he may have been doing someone else's dirty work. Now, if you're familiar with this news story, you know that there was a woman named Gabby who went viral because her friend went live and said that Gabby told her that Keon King called her a few days prior to Kada Scott going missing, and that he asked about her and she confirmed her address, her home address. And so everybody was going crazy on Gabby for confirming Kada's address. So she did a live, and on my other channel, which I'll put a link to below, I have a breakdown of her. Actually, it's not a live, it's a video. And I actually think she's reading because it looks like she's reading notes and saying her piece of how she knew Keon and things like that, where I feel like she is lying. And for me, it's not necessarily hard for me to tell when someone is lying,
for certain types of people. Certain type of people have little like tells, like little things they say when they tell a lie. And she is one of those type of people, in my opinion. And she said that the point of the video was to show Keon King calling her a few days before Kada Scott disappeared. And when I tell you she does everything else in that video, she shows screenshots of her calling Keon, her calling her best friend, them cussing each other out, her and her mother talking. She shows screenshots of everything but Keon calling her. So I feel like it was deceptive. And the truth needs to come out from the people in his circle. If you want to look at a timeline for so it can be clearer to you if you're not familiar with this case, he allegedly stole a black Hyundai on October 3rd. And he actually, they don't have it in this timeline, but shout out to Fugitive TV on YouTube. He kind of put together a more detailed timeline. And the first date where Keon starts communicating with Kada is also September 28th. But then by October 3rd, he has stolen this car, this black Hyundai Accent. By October 4th, he's texting with Kada, and Kada agrees to meet him. She received 12 phone calls from the same number between 9:25 p.m. and 10:12 p.m., as well as a 43-second call the night she went missing. Now, her coworker said that she was arguing outside, like she was on the phone with someone arguing outside and said, "I can't believe you're calling me about this stuff." Now, I've been thinking, what stuff? What is it? With her saying that she was being harassed for the few days prior to her being unalive. What was she being harassed about? And now it seems when you put two and two together that perhaps Kada was like a witness to a crime or some other thing to where Keon was sent to intimidate her. And he ended up unaliving her. That's what it seems like. Because, like I said, there's so many other people involved.
And because he has a history of violence against women, we know his pattern. And we know his pattern is to normally put his hands around his victims' necks. So, being that he didn't choose that method this time, it makes it seem like he may have had a different motive for unaliving Kada.
They show records, cell phone records of his phone pinging back and forth to another house in Philadelphia where two women live. And the police brought these two women in for questioning, and they are possibly the women that helped him bury the body because, like I said, he definitely had help, and he's actually seen on video with help. He's seen on video with at least one other person helping him carry the body and then switch cars because he ends up burning the Hyundai, and then he also has to park his car. And like I said, if you go to Fugitive TV, he was saying how actually in the court records, there was a third person. There was a third person lookout that was on a scooty bike that was also seen. So between those two women and possibly other people, it seems as if he might have been doing other people's dirty work. Like maybe he was sent to scare Kada, but because he is who he is,
A predator, he decided to escalate the violence and unalive her.
so y'all leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think. Hopefully, y'all have been keeping up with this case so you can kind of follow the timeline of it.